Thank you, thank you. But before we're diving into what you product guys and girls you're gonna do in the shorter term future, like next week or even tomorrow, I think if you're up at night tomorrow, yeah, let's just take a time to rewind and slow down, because I feel a bit like a kind of AI influencers these days. But basically, everything starts. Yeah, sorry. Everything starts with the AI stuff. Yeah, not that far. Like 2020, COVID, I came to Lisbon. I have this shitty corporate innovation business, design thinking, startup studio for aerospace company, banks. And I feel like, okay, now I'm full remote worker. I'm here in Portugal, in Lisbon, and it's really more balancing my life as as a human being. And there's so much option in front of me. And so before we go into like, hey, we are in the future and the AI won't replace you, but the people using the AI will. And I think that's a part of the things. Thinking how I just onboard this whole story. Of course, it doesn't start with a curriculum vitae, but just to know, like, I'm a creative guy. I moved from corporate environment world, and then I feel a bit bored, and the COVID came, and then I started to have more and more companies seeking for impact and not having the people as the coffee machine. Being here, I developed most of my precious garden, a community. So I think when I put my first step inside the LisboaUX past year, I was very in resonance with joining, being participating, delivering, and contributing. I mean, I learned so much things from the people, and sometimes, believe me or not, I'm 45. You just want to get back to the community. And so getting back from the community always starts with a good story. And I think it's because, also that's incredible, this talk, this invitation, the people here, the time of the year with the Web Summit. I think most of my life, my Portuguese new life since 2020, starts with the Web Summit. And why it started with the Web Summit? Because I met people. Remember, like, you're not building business, you're building with people business. And that was my first, that was my first connection. I met those people. And from those people, I was invited. My first day in a famous Portuguese company where I found, a lot of great profile, seeking for, being handled with product. I was coming from France. We have those guys with a discovery discipline framework, call it whatever you want. And then just helping the people to put together, like, okay, we're a company, we're paying other company to make design sprint, to have some statement, and at the end of the design sprint, we wait 8 weeks, we spend a lot of money, and the guys say, we have now 3 new statements, and our recommendation, make another design sprint. So it was totally out of my mind, and I just say, okay, guys, let's just take this discovery framework, let's do something, and let's see in the next 15 days what's get out from that. And we just improve and create this kind of cool, framework for a corporate environment. And have much more fun, and I met much more friends, always the same good old friends. But in also more product environment. I found out Lisbon was really, one of the best and the most exciting city in Europe to make product, because you have, this kind of Californian pictures. You have very advanced skills in design, and the Portuguese is really a place for design since a long time ago. And then, I started to have some people asking me to speak about this product and innovation. But at this place, it's the Nova Academy in Carcavelos. It was a bit like, okay, hey guys, did you realize that we are not in the world 10 years ago? We have now AI, we have Miro, we have a lot of new way to make, learning different. So I had this opportunity to experiment a lot. Why it's important? Because you'll feel, as you go say, you'll need tomorrow morning at 9 to start to have a place where you can sandbox stuff, you can fail, you can try. And at the beginning, you can feel, oh, I wasted so much hour on this. But at the end of the day, you're never losing. You're learning all the time. And believe me or not, AI is just about, a learning curve. So it's not like, okay, I feel shy and I don't have the time. By the way, you won't never have time until you put this time in your agenda saying, okay, this is my AI labs time where I can make shit with ChatGPT and nobody cares. Because at the end of the day, in the couple of months after having this regular iteration on this, sandbox, great stuff can be achieved. And I experimented a lot of great things in Nova, and most of my workshops, most of my AI training, most of my most crazy idea with AI came because I have some 30 people from India coming, and I have to explain about agility. And, I just don't believe anymore in agility, but we can make it with a fun way because we will have some master prompt and we will have ChatGPT and it will be crazy and the people just become all crazy. And we have, look at their face. I mean, they really feel they have great experiences. So other web summits, because we're still in Lisbon, and more web summits, more friends, and more conferences. So believe or not, Lisbon is also a place for connection. We had this crazy, idea with one friend of the Miro community, Pedro Segredo. The guy is great, and we have created this, we were drinking a beer, and drinking that beer, we're like, oh, let's make a kind of meetup. We both love the Stranger Things environment series, and let's create a stranger connection where we put facilitator, tech guys, product guys all together, and let's have this event. Let's share food, let's share some conferences, let's experiment some practice. And for a year, it was, I think, one of the coolest places around. Some of you already experiment. I even don't know how we get all that food for free, and we have the music bands every month. It was very crazy. But, still thinking like, it's connection. You need to be strong on your feet if you want to shoot for the star. And the time passed, still Andre, most of you know Andre if you're in the product environment. But anyway, that was, the end of my being part of this Lisbon history story. And it ends up a couple of months ago right here with someone that helped me a lot to feel integrated. And why it's important? Because, I would never have this opportunity to have this spare time to develop my new skills, and it's exactly what we're going to see, because this is the Lisbon AI Week. It's not, the We Love Lisbon Week. All the story take these strong roots inside having people around me, buying me time to experiment, explore. And of course, now I'm giving regular course and more course to the Nova Academic, because they're all like, oh, we need to have AI training and AI everywhere stuff. And they're just watching the teachers and the deans. They are super nice, super high, super whatever you want. They're all professor. But, they're just lost with the AI because they just don't see the train come. So what's changing radically today is, as you say, we have turned months into hours, really months into hours, but not like, it's the business or it's the UX designer. Or it's just you and yourself and your capacity to, just accelerate, project your mind at light speed. And believe me or not, everything starts, it was a very silly project. When I discovered the GPTs, it was like in 2020. So you say in September 2020, I start with ChatGPT. I heard about ChatGPT and I was like, I need to go on ChatGPT to make my documentation. I'm spending too much time, but I don't have the time to experiment and I know it will be shitty. And at the beginning, it was very shitty until as there was this GPTs and I went, oh, maybe I can, I can start to create an avatar of, we didn't have the agent name at this period, but the GPTs was cool. And I spent, days to write the story of Maeva. Maeva was my first GPTs. Now my GPTs, they don't have name anymore. I stopped with the romantic, like, oh, we need to give them a name. So don't give a shit, believe me. But I'm still saying thanks and please, because in any case, in the future, like in 20 years, if the robots come to kill after you, maybe you want to say, oh, those guys, I remember, don't kill him. He tell thanks and please and goodbye. So, but at this time, I was like, okay, very fascinating to say, okay, I want my GPTs to act like something very, professional for me. And what is professional for me is somebody that has a history, that have made some studies. And so I spent a lot of time even on LinkedIn to find, from my friend, where the schools they have made. And then I put this inside this Maeva. And at the beginning, I was just like, hey, I've created the most perfect collaborator in the world. Actually, there was a lot of, lacks and things I couldn't do with Maeva. But we still have in my community, I have one editors in Minnesota. She's one, and she have created Queen, and I have this Maeva, and sometimes we are just making video conferences where Queen and Maeva speak together. It's just, incredible. But I come from those experimentation to say, hey guys, you need to learn about AI, and it's very easy because you can have the Miro board and you can start to play with some AI. At this time, I'll start to record. Just give me a second. I'll see if, I think I'm good. I'm good at. Yeah, it's running. So you see, what do we have here? We have just a couple of boards in Miro. We can go into the focus mode, so it will be much fun for you. And then from here, I just say, hey guys, AI is just about a context. If you give a good context, then you can make the AI work for you. And from this point, the people, they're just spending couple of minutes. So if you want, you can play with us tomorrow morning. And then at the end, you have those prompts. Basically, I spent a lot of time at the beginning to create my prompt until I realized, like, hey, why don't have an AI to write my prompt? It will be much more efficient. And of course, now I have different agents that are designing the prompt. I'm saying, okay, this is the goal I want to achieve. So level 1 of autonomy, make the prompt. And believe me, the prompt is like, that's big, but the results are incredible. So I'm just, using the people, like, don't stop thinking you're better than an AI to make a prompt. Use the prompt, just explore, the capacities. So you see, it was very basic. By the way, if you want to register, I still have 4 or 3 seats available tomorrow. You can just scan it, and it's totally free. It's just playing with the Miro and the AI. But at this stage, it was like level 1. Like, hey, you have some feeder. You can say, I want this. Maybe I can context-based some research, but nothing more. And suddenly, what's happened? I guess who wants to have the QR code get it? I'm sorry, just another web summit. And because, yeah, that's something that's really, drives the flow and the rhythm at Lisbon. This web summit, I attend Sean McLean from ABC conferences, 20 minutes, and the guy was explaining how they use algorithm to experiment and to project some biotop or some molecules on biotopes. And it was very like, there was nobody in this conference because it was like, big pharma, complicated scientists, deep science. And this guy, I was like, hey, amazing. So they're using AI to make synthetic research, so to make statistic on 15 billion of biotop, to use a molecule and say, okay, what's happening on this biotop after 1 hour, after 10 hours, after 1 day, after 1 month, after 10 years, after 100 years. Even, if you have real subjects, you can't do that. And this guy just reduced from 5 to 2 years the time to market for a molecule. It didn't mean like at the end of the day, they never experimented the molecule on a real subject, but they just cut off, the time, they fold the time and space. And I was like, oh my God, what does that mean in product? What does that mean in product? And we had this discussion with a nice piece of meat a few times ago. It's still recording, and we still have, demo and process. So I know the people, they like the process, so you can also grab a picture on it. But basically, I had to wait so much, 6 months, to have the first product team in France tell me, hey, we might want to explore I was speaking about, synthetic research all around, but nobody believed in that because it was like, hey, are you crazy? I mean, it will be bullshit, that synthetic research. And we don't have the time, by the way, and we don't have the money for, spending on fluff. But I found somewhere in France a small IT product company that wants to, they were too few, and they never have the time for making a good user research. So it was like, okay, let's spend a day with you and let's see how we can build a research infrastructure. And it was like, Hugo, no guarantee. Like, maybe we will waste a day and we will make sheet on sheet on sheet, and we will multiply the sheets with the AI, and we have a great amount of sheet at the end of the day. Maybe not. No guarantee. And the guys say, okay, we have this training budget and whatever, so let's go. We'll drill down, and believe me, from this procedure, we have went through, of course, not produce everything on a Miro AI, because at this time Miro AI was very dumb. But we have moved from a whole project they have run and operate in 2 years, from those only inside description into the white notes. We have started with Miro AI to create some memos of the product. And from those memos, we have started to set up a ChatGPT environment, personalization, project creation. And then we even have started an agent for prompting to have something good. And just accelerating a bit the time, you see all those documentation where piece of the ChatGPT, then piece of the Perplexity for the business analysis and the market analysis and the personal design. And everything was very fluid, like from 9 to 12, we were ready, and we were really just like, hey, are we seriously designing and generating interview guide to make ChatGPT be interviewed by us? And, it was the time for the lunch. And then after the lunch, we just start to inject those prompts, those master prompts we have created into the ChatGPT. We had this young Luca, 19 years old, from Perplexity. He was one of the persona we have targeted, and we have generated this a great amount of the interview guide, and a great prompt we have injected. I think it was here, just below. the persona. And it's time, yeah, maybe we can see from this environment, we have inject this prompt, like, okay, I'm sorry, it's sometime in French, sometime, yeah, here it's in English, Luca. And so when Luca was injected, he was ready. Of course, you'll see there's a lot of surprise with Luca, with our virtual Luca. And we were ready to load our user test protocol and say, okay, Luca, let's go with this user interview guide to make slash discovery. I'm sorry, I'm starting to become old. Well, at night, I don't see clearly my keyboards. Okay, so you see, it's even a command you have to see. And then it's starting to act like a young Luca. And at the beginning, we were a bit like, oh, what's gonna happen? This is the demo effect all the time. You know, I'm on my 5G. Something will happen. Okay, so we're starting to have this discussion with young Luca. It's at the beginning we're a bit romantic, like, hey, can we have the voice interface and start to speak with Luca? And when we saw that, we say, hey, we don't need the voice interface. We have everything we want. And you can even start to say, okay, what are the modifier command, please? Yeah, the please is very important if you don't want to be killed in 20 years from now. Of course, we have developed to have, you know, longer answers, or to have more tones, or to have, you know, just Luca can speak in Portuguese, for example. And so you have all these commands, and we will say, okay, we want a tone plus. I think I don't have to spare that. And we need maybe to have a deep plus, because we want to have more detailed interview. And that's the end of the day. Let's ask in Portuguese, because we have part of the product teams here in Portugal, and they will be happy to have this in Portuguese. So you'll see just by this, we have full time, space, languages. And in 5 hours, we have built this platform with Luca. But what we have made was even bigger, because this is just like, okay, you will say, hey, how do we know there's no bias? How do we know what's happening with Luca? How do we know all of that? Okay. I think it's good. It's in Portuguese. I think I will ask to have a deep plus plus next time. But let's move back to the big picture. Because on the big picture, when we have made this, we have said, okay, from everything we have learned from this virtual Luca, can you update the product brief for the application we want to do? And so it's exactly what's happened. They update the product brief, and we have generated a prototype, a first version of the prototype. Not good, not bad. We were also very helped to generate yeah, I don't know if you know this, this application is quite cool to generate a wireframe and sitemap. So we have generated, yeah, the architecture information. And then we have said, okay, and could, beside Relume and the first prototype, could we export this prototype and ask Luca to follow a user testing guide? This is what we want. And at the end of the day, it works. The PDF was done inside the same environment. And at the end, the product brief was updated from all the preview. Like we had at the beginning like a very shitty result with our first prototype. Was okay, I'm a 19 years old kid. Your application look really a medic application. I don't want that application. I give you 6 on 10 for your net promoter score. And we ask what we can do to improve. And here we have updated the product brief, and we have created another version. And believe me, when they saw this application at 5 o'clock at the end of the day, it was like, hey, we have worked 2 years, put in production a product for an hospital, and this is exactly everything we have learned after 2 years about the app we should have been done. And we have made this like in 7 hours. So always what I'm saying, it's not about what's happening into the AI. Even if you are asking Sam Altman, he won't be, I think, capable anymore to explain you what's happening into ChatGPT. Sorry, this is something they have to improve. Is the availability of the player. I'm sorry, we have to, fast track. So yeah, it's not even about understanding what's happening into the AI stuff. It's just about thinking, okay, is it worth it? Is it relevant or not? And of course, it doesn't mean like you stop to make some user research with discovery or with user interview or user testing at the end, but it's changing just the way you are working with the people. Before, it was like, okay, I need my 10 customer interview to have something reliable, and then on the user testing, I need to have a qualitative testing and then quantitative testing and whatever. Right now, you can just think, okay, I will interview 2 or 3 humans, and from those interviews, I will inject the results into my 10 virtual player. And like this, you can just, readjust from, the AI perspective to the real life perspective. So you see, you're still combining the two. You're still working with human, but, you're just cutting the time. I mean, 2 interview versus 10 interview, it's not the same story. So everything you saw, it's just available tonight, but I think it will be also the time maybe for having a dinner and a good time. But tomorrow morning, you can do that. Be aware, like when you're folding time and space, you are using your superpower. But when Superman used too much superpower, he needs to have a super rest. At the end of a synthetic user session, testing session day, you have produced maybe what a 5-people team is producing. You have produced in one day what a 5-people produce team is producing mostly in 15 days. Because you have produced a lot of content, you have reviewed this content because you're a serious guy, and you have manipulated incredible amounts of data. And believe me, your brain is just like shit. So think about it. We're also facing the fact that AI won't replace the human. We will collaborate with the AI, but you're not an AI. Your brain is not an AI. It's an electric system, but it's a weaker electric system in terms of capacity. So at some stage, you need also to think about, how you're projecting synthetic user research in a reasonable time for you to also have the time to review, have the time to analyze, and have the time for your brain to cool down. Otherwise, I think in the next 2 years, we'll have, the full product world will be in burnout. So very important to think about, the speed, the relation of speed, the relation of time, and the fact that we are flesh and bone and we have limitation. So when we are one day working like 10 people, at the end of the day, you have spent the energy of 10 people. So if you are working 5 days like 10 people, I think you're dead. Other things, and that's the level 2. I think I won't showcase the level 2, or might be showcasing a bit of the level 2, level 3. It's about the flow now. It's not anymore about, hey, I have created something and let's see where I can put this in a Google Doc or in a Jira or whatever. It's starting to think more like an architect. I'm also always saying like prompt engineering is dead. Now you have to move as a prompt architect. You don't need to be a prompt engineer anymore. I mean, you have your GPTs, you have you have your LLM are more capable than you to create the best prompt in the world, but you still have the capacity to to planify the way you will structure the data, the resource, the agent you will build to make stuff. So prompt architecture, I think it's a word you will hear in the next coming months for sure. And then at the end, you're still a designer. This is the showcase of the new Air Generation. It's my community. We're developing a new website because we're growing and we have a lot of stuff to share and to say. And at the beginning, it was like, okay, from everything you know about the community since 2 years now, make a product brief and then let's have a website. And then from this, you're just sending this to your team. You're waiting 48 hours. You have 2 comments like, oh, we should have this. Oh, this is good, but it's not good. And then after, you can decide to, of course, send your PDF to your virtual persona. And from version 0, that was generated, to version 7, it's all designed into the Miro now. We just work with all our different persona. We are B2B, B2C community. So we have 8 different persona. And we have drove this homepage into 8 different persona, and we have taken the feedback. We have not generated from the feedback. We have just, follow the guides from our virtual persona to implement more reassuring stuff, more component. And then, in a couple of hours, we have produced something reasonable. We have submit to a bigger range of human in the community. And most of the people was like, hey, nothing to say. I mean, it's just cool. So yeah, that's the reality. It's not like, oh, but I'm a designer, what can I do? You still can design, but take your insight. I mean, it's a level 1 and it's very acceptable today to use it and to practice. And think about it. You still have people in the loop, whenever you want. If you want also to just verify or certify, because nobody will tell you what's happening into the OpenAI stuff. No, the developers, they don't even know anymore. And one last more demo. I'm sorry, I'll try to be quick, depending on the Miro capacity. It's still about generating, but now it's generating in the new world, like more level 2, where you're not starting to say, hey, I want this, and then when you have this, oh, hey, I want that. So you're saying, okay, everything you know about my community. So I have the complete documentation of my community. And here I say, okay, let's generate a product brief. It's a kind of cool. And from this, I say, okay, I want a roadmap to the task and the job to be done and the production. I want a prototype from the product brief. Believe or not, but now I think I won't say that Figma is dead, but Miro is becoming a very, very serious player now into the product design and UX research. All those prototypes, they are generated, but they are editable. So you can really adjust everything in those boards. And you can fork, say, okay, I want a product brief for the homepage, and I want a mobile version, and I want also a declination. And what's going to happen with all those grids and flows is when sometime you're switching into the AI canvas, you will be able to say, hey, guys, I have new information for the product brief. We have some persona. So let's plug the persona on the product brief. Oh, we also have a benchmark on the market with other community. And we also have competitive analysis. So let's plug this to the product brief. And let's say, okay, run again. What's going to happen? If it's happening, run. So actually, you see, I like the small animation. It's very small, but you can see it. So now it's taking the content based from more than my description, but from my persona, from my benchmark and from my competitive analysis. And it's a bit slow for now, but in the near future it will be, I think, speeding up while they are developing also for mirror MCPs, where you can plug this whole thing to the code and say, okay, from the prototype I want the code and I want the application. They have demoed this in New York 2 weeks ago. But if I asking you what's going to happen when I have a new product brief generated, what do you think what's going to happen after? It's going to happening. So the product brief generated is now much more intensive. And we have moved now to the next stage. So this is the last part of the show. So you see, it's now having a new instruction, and it's sending a new instruction into your roadmap, into your prototype, and even into your home page. And so by the end of the speech, you see, it's generating a new brief for the home page. And we might come at the end, because I still have a word to conclude this, and we will see what's happened at the end. So Zig Ziglar, he's an economist from America and focusing on the people. And I like this. It's true. But honestly, I believe it's you build people and the people build the business. It was yesterday. And today, it's more you building the people and the system, and the people and the system are building the businesses. That's the new dawn for you. You need to accept it. Otherwise, you just be, a side of an accelerating rocket. It's not a train, it's a rocket. And if you're not in a rocket, at this time, you might have this consideration to find a new job. If you're in the rocket, there will be time and space for you to still be curious, experiment, and succeed. So at the end of the day, I really recommend you to be in that picture with, Web Summit, the people you like, and a couple of robots around you to make the magic happen. And we still have the prototype to being generated. It's a bit long, but we might have it at the end of the question if Malik allow me to have a few questions. Thank you so much.